Good morning. Welcome to Left Undone. We're going to live stream this hearing here. Hopefully, it'll get started any minute. Good morning, everybody. Just kind of sneaking this in there while I'm working. So hopefully I'm selfishly hoping it's going to be quick because I have to work today. Good morning, everybody. Oh, there goes my sound. So if you are new here, just go ahead and hit the like button for me and subscribe. We're going to follow this case until there's nothing left to follow, like I've said a million times. It should be starting any second. It was supposed to be scheduled for 10:30, so I'm just streaming through KTTVB. Oh goodness gracious. Yeah, so
You'll also notice that some of us are wearing masks and some of us are not.
There we go.
I'm in a courtroom alone by myself, so I'm not wearing a mask. Because Ms. Daybell and Mr. Means are sitting at a table together, they are wearing masks. Mr. Means, can you describe for me who else is in the courtroom with you?
I can, Your Honor. Obviously, myself and my client, Mrs. Daybell, and we have 2 deputies from the Madison County Sheriff's Department present as well.
Thank you. Mr. Wood, is anyone else there in the room with you that we can't see inside the frame?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then today is the date and time set for a pretrial conference, and the purpose of a pretrial conference is to set a jury trial date and other necessary dates. It's also to discuss matters we need to take up to make sure we have an orderly disposition of this case. Since the last hearing, Mr. Wood has dismissed the felony counts relative to this case here in Madison County, leaving the 3 misdemeanors at issue. Count 1, resisting and obstructing. Count 2, solicitation of Melanie Gibb to resist and obstruct. And count 3, contempt. Mr. Means has filed a not guilty plea to those charges, a demand for a jury trial, which means we need to set this for a jury trial, and a number of other motions that I will discuss here in a few minutes. So that is all that we are prepared to take up today. As I noted, Mr. Means filed a couple of other motions that may need to be scheduled, one for sure, the others I'm not quite so sure about. But the first thing that I want to go through today is setting the jury trial. Mr. Means, can you tell me how many days you think you will need for a jury trial?
Well, I'd be interested in hearing how many days the prosecution thinks as well, but I think we would need to set this for approximately 4 to 5 days for these misdemeanors, just to make sure we're covering our bases. It could potentially be longer. I mean, obviously this case is a little different than most misdemeanor cases. And so there could be some other time issues as far as in preparation for the jury trial that might add a few more days to that number.
All right, Mr. Wood, tell me your view of how many days. And I realize there are other charges outstanding in Fremont County that you are also the prosecutor on. So if you could just let us know what your plans are in regards to this jury trial.
Your Honor, in terms of time, I agree with Mr. Means. Approximately 4 or 5 days would probably suffice. And so, yeah, 4 or 5 days, I think. We probably should just block off a week at some point to do it.
All right. Okay, and Mr. Means, tell me how long you think you need to prepare, how long you'll need between now and the jury trial setting.
I think probably more than your traditional setting. We have some discovery that's going to come over in the next few days. I understand it's another extensive amount as far as size goes, it's gigabytes and information and whatnot. This case obviously is a little different than most. I would be reluctant to say anything within the next 6 months, really. There's a lot of conversations that prosecution and I need to have regarding this. My client is, if I can inform the court, is going to waive her right to a speedy trial on this matter, if that helps with the scheduling as well.
Mr. Wood, your view of how long you need to prepare?
Your Honor, on this case, the state doesn't need that much more time to prepare. However, as to what Mr. Means said, there are conversations between the defense and the state in regards to venue, possible consolidation of cases. And so in and of itself, no, we don't need a lot of time to prepare, but I think what Mr. Means has said is accurate in terms of the conversations we're going to be having in terms of when we actually try this and if it gets consolidated with other charges.
All right. Well, 6 months out takes us into January. Is that what you're thinking, Mr. Wood?
That's fine with the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Means?
It's fine with me, Your Honor.
And I do not have in my courtroom a calendar that extends into January. Madam Clerk, can you let us know what the third and fourth Mondays in January are?
Yes, I will.
If I can, Your Honor, according to my calendar, January 18th of this next year is going to be a federal holiday. So
Okay.
we might be looking at the fourth Monday in January if we want to try.
And what day is that, Mr. Means?
Martin Luther King Day.
Right. Yeah, thank you for calling that to my attention. But the next Monday, what's the next Monday?
I don't see any conflicting holiday on the 25th.
Okay.
It would be the 25th and the 29th.
Okay. Mr. Wood, how does that work for you?
That's fine for the state, Your Honor.
So we'll set the jury trial for January 25th through 29th. Plan on starting at 9 a.m. And right now it's set for Madison County. I understand that Mr. Means has reserved his right to request a change of venue. The next thing that I want to take up is scheduling Mr. Means' motion for a bond reduction. Have the two of you discussed that at all, Mr. Wood?
Yes, and the state is fine if Mr. Means wants to argue that today. We're prepared to argue that. Obviously at the discretion of the court, but we're fine to argue that if he wants to today.
All right, Mr. Means, is that what you'd like to do, is talk about it today?
If that's possible, Your Honor. I don't think a lot has changed since the last two bond hearings we've had, so I think it's pretty short and concise as far as our argument goes on why it should be reduced.
All right. Well, the court was not prepared to take that up today. Let me ask Madam Clerk to put us all in the waiting room for just a minute. Let me take a brief recess. I will get my notes from the last hearing so that we can not have to start from scratch. So we'll be in recess for just 5 minutes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, looky there, we got a close-up of the Lucifer. Got a little close-up of her. Guess she didn't like the dollar store lipstick. She's wearing her mask. Well, she was kind of pissed that he got her the dollar store lipstick, so it makes sense that she'd make sure to have her mask on today. Thank you, Eleni. Yeah, keep her in that portal potty. Thanks, loose can. Missy, you think her lawyer is going to quit this case? He's such a buffoon. I don't think he's smart enough to know that he needs to quit. I know, I agree, Samantha. Just confess, lady. You know you did it. Like, stop wasting all our time. I know, Melissa. I think she did that on purpose. She asked for the biggest mask. Basically, I'm surprised it's not over her eyes and forehead, too. Totally, Mary. We do. We need a Mark Means emoji. Oh my gosh. I still need more I still need more members and then I can make another emoji, but that's a perfect one. We need that. Yeah, Patricia, he supposedly is a civil lawyer. It's kind of why I made fun of him in my cartoon. I'm like, look at me. I'm a criminal defense lawyer now. Scott Reich does a good job of pointing out all his flaws. It is actually kind of funny because Scott is a criminal defense lawyer. Nothing's on right now, Tara. They're taking a break. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Mary. Yes, we need more members so we can get our emojis. We have a campaign for emoji campaign. Please join. So if you want to join and become a member, you go on my YouTube channel page. Next to the subscribe button, there's a join button, and it shows you the different levels that you can join. All levels get the emojis. We do a happy hour every, 2 Fridays a month. And the last Friday of the month and the second Friday of the month, we do happy hour. And it's members only. Look at Sandy. She's got the emojis right there. We got Melanie the Pinocchio, Melanie Pulowski, Melanie P. Left Undone, Tyleen JJ, Potato Chad, Summy and Mummy for Mummy, Janice. Our Wine for Happy Hour, Crazy Dude for just crazy, Lori, TGIF, Chad, Mugshot, Sideways, Porta Potty, Dale, and Troll. Oh yeah, please like. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder, guys. If you like it, it helps with my algorithm. Also, double check and make sure you're subscribed. I keep getting people mentioning that they thought they were subscribed and they're not. So you may have to unsubscribe and subscribe back real quick because I think there's some glitch. Okay, here they come.
I think we have everyone back in place. Can you hear me okay, Mr. Means?
We can, Your Honor. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, Mr. Means, since this is your motion, go ahead with your argument.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Real short, Your Honor, as set forth in our motion, the change in circumstances here really is regarding the dismissal of the 2 felony counts that were in the previous complaint. We're left with, as the court mentioned earlier, 3 misdemeanors, an obstruction, a solicitation, and a contempt charge, which carries with it a maximum, according to my calculations, 2 years and possible $2,500 fine. The only thing I would add, in addition to the things that have been argued in the previous 2 bond hearings, is my client has been a model inmate. These charges are not of a violent nature. There is no previous criminal record regarding my client in any other jurisdiction that we're aware of. Her access to funds is extremely limited. I think the court has issued an order previously outlining that if my client were bailed out or bonded out, that there were certain restrictions in place, that we're fine with keeping those restrictions. We think ultimately that the $1 million bond isn't reflective of the current charges, and we'd ask that the court reduce it to $100,000.
Mr. Wood?
Thank you, Your Honor. We do acknowledge that at this time, the defendant faces misdemeanor charges in Madison County. We also acknowledge that she's also being held on a $1 million bail in Fremont County. We would point out that each of these misdemeanors were, in the state's view, an overt act of in furtherance of a felony to conceal the location of the defendant's minor children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow, who are deceased. In terms of factors in Rule 46, I'll just focus on what we see has changed from the last time we argued this in front of Judge Evans and in front of yourself. And I think where it's really changed, well, one is her familial, any family contact she might have. Her only family contact is Chad Daybell, who is a co-defendant in the Fremont County case. And in our view, her only family contact now is someone with whom her legal interests are completely adverse. In terms of aggravating factors, I think that's where the real change has occurred. There are many aggravating factors. I'd point out that, Your Honor, the last time we had a discussion of bail in this case, we were arguing about jail phone calls. while the defendant's children were dead. And the state finds that very troubling. And so I just point out, Your Honor, that when the defendant obstructed the investigation into the safety and welfare of J.J. Vallow, she was hiding the location of her dead child. When she attempted to get Melanie Gibb to lie to the police on her behalf, she was attempting to get Miss Gibb to lie about the location of her dead child. And when she refused to comply with a lawful order to produce her children, she did so in an effort to conceal the deaths of her minor children, all while telling family and friends that they were fine. And so, Your Honor, those aggravating factors that bear on the likelihood of conviction are troubling, they're strong, and quite frankly, they also bear on the defendant's character, which the court is allowed to consider in a bail reduction hearing. Acknowledging these charges are misdemeanors, if the court is so inclined to lower bail, we'd ask that it be no lower than $250,000, and we would ask that all the current restrictions on bail and her release remain in place.
All right, thank you. Anything in response, Mr. Means?
Just briefly, Your Honor, obviously the court is well aware that the client is innocent until proven otherwise. I think some of the argument that has been put forward to justify a $250,000 bail is based on, though out of respect for the argument, speculation that requires a certain amount of jumping from point to point in order to justify. Again, we just ask that the court consider the dismissal of the felony charges, which were previously the bulk of the potential incarceration time. Here we're looking at 3 misdemeanors, and I think $100,000 is more than appropriate in this setting.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
There are 2 procedural matters in this case that are inescapable. One is that these are misdemeanors with a total maximum sentence of 2 years if they are run consecutive to each other and if Ms. Daybell is convicted. The second procedural matter that impacts my decision is that there is another pending case in Fremont County in case number CR 22-20-838, a conspiracy case conspiracy case against Ms. Daybell. And that case has a $1 million bond. So regardless of what I do with bond here today, there's still another case with a $1 million bond that is outstanding. I'll note that Ms. Daybell was taken into custody in February of 2020. So she's served at least 5 months by now, which, if she were convicted, would go as credit to her sentence. I previously noted that the factors that I consider are those stated in Idaho Code Section 19-2904 and Idaho Criminal Rule 46C. We really are not going to have any trouble, I don't think, ensuring the appearance of the defendant, no matter what bond I set, considering the bond in the Fremont County case. Bond is present. She does have the right to bond, and I will set bail today and will lower it. A third prong is ensuring the protection of victims and witnesses, and the fourth is ensuring public safety. I cannot overlook Idaho Criminal Rule 46C, subsection 6, which is the nature of the current charge, which I've already taken into account. They're misdemeanors with a relatively low maximum sentence. But also that prong requires me to take into account any mitigating or aggravating factors that may bear on the likelihood of conviction and the possible penalty. Of course, in our system of justice, Ms. Daybell is considered innocent until proven guilty, but every court in Idaho, in consideration of what bond should be set, is allowed to consider the likelihood of conviction and any mitigating or aggravating factors that may bear on that likelihood. I think it's inescapable that these misdemeanor charges are relating to the whereabouts of her minor children who have now been found deceased. All of the other factors are really no different than where they were when we had this last hearing. I am going to reduce bond based on my consideration of all those factors. I'm going to set bond at $50,000 on each count for a total of $150,000 in bond. If Ms. Daybell does post bond, I'm adding an additional condition to her release that she have no contact whatsoever with her alleged co-conspirators. In the Fremont County case number CR 22-20-838. Do you have any questions or clarifications about my decision, Mr. Means?
I do not, Your Honor.
Mr. Wood?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, the court will prepare the amended order regarding conditions. Mr. Wood, would you prepare the order regarding the reduction in bond?
Yes.
Right, I'll anticipate seeing that in the next couple of days. Anything else we need to take up at this pretrial conference, Mr. Means?
I don't think so.
Mr. Wood, anything else we need to take up?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
I'll remind both attorneys to pay close attention to the pretrial order I will issue within the next day or two. It will have the required deadlines, and you will be expected to either meet those deadlines or to ask for leave to depart from those deadlines. We'll be in recess.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, well, I guess that's it. So I guess we'll see what happens. But from what you guys are saying, it doesn't make a difference. She can't go anywhere anyways because she still has the other charges in other county. And I am just hoping that this keeps her right where she's at still. I feel like they just like to waste everybody's time, to be honest. All right, you guys, I'm going to get back to work. And I will see you guys all. I will see you soon, okay? I'll see you tomorrow on the.
You having a good time?
Oops, why is there a Trump commercial? Don't even know
Members
what
of
happened.
Congress,
All right, guys,
members
take
of
care. Have a great one.
Cabinet
I'll see you tomorrow,
and
Saturday
the
at
First
10:30
Lady and I are
a.m.
delighted
Pacific
to
time
welcome
for
you
our regular Saturday
to
morning
the
live.
second
Please like, share,
annual
subscribe, all that
Salute
stuff.
to
Love you.
America.
Bye.
Describe his personality at that time, just reserved.
Reserved. Yeah, reserved. A little. Sometimes he came across not very confident.
Did you stay with Lori at that time?
Share,
When you went up to
subscribe,
visit?
all that stuff. Love you. Bye.
And were the kids there?
JJ was.
But Tylee was not.
Tyler was not.
describe his personality
Where was
at that
she?
time. Just
I was told she was at BYU.
BYU in Provo.